Welcome everyone to On the Square with Councilman Kurt Johnson. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Stephen Garner, who's the content creator for People of the Eye podcast. And we're looking forward to hear the exciting things that he's doing with his podcast and see how we can learn from him and get involved with his organization. Welcome, Mr. Garner.
Hey, thank you for having me, Kurt.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Like yourself, military background, United States Marine Corps. Lived here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area for close to 14 years now. My wife's from here. She grew up here in Grand Prairie.
Okay.
Was excited to move here, and I'm excited to be a part of the community.
Well, that's good to hear. Can you share a bit about your journey? What inspired you to take the role in the People of the Eye organization?
Yeah, so moving here, I wanted to get involved in the community, and I stumbled across a community that really inspired me. It was a group of people who've kind of dedicated themselves to making other people's lives better, as well as growing community and using things like education and nutrition to do so.
Okay. What challenges have the organization faced and how have you overcome them today?
So I would say a common challenge is one that every organization faces, and that's trying to figure out how to reach people. So our podcast is one of the ways we aim to do that, but also it's through a lot of the programs that we implement. And the community that we target most is indigenous people and people of African descent, but it's structured to include everybody because this is about educating everyone.
Yeah, that is a tough thing trying to reach out to people because even campaigning, folks have no solicitation on their doors, and we don't knock on their doors, and then they find out there are things coming into the neighborhood that they wish they would have known about, but we can't reach them. So we try different things to reach to those constituents who are not that accessible when you're walking the neighborhood. So,
and it's a challenge, because everyone needs knowledge and everyone needs a skill set, but it's a challenge to understand or to try and figure out exactly what's needed to engage with people and help them see new possibilities and help them see their potential.
Yeah, I'm a lifetime learner. I've always believed in learning, and being in the military, I had the opportunity to go around the world, visit many cultures to get understanding from those different cultures. There's not much that separate us by our cultures.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to bridge that gap on the differences to have an understanding why the different cultures do the things they do or to say the things they say. Because I was, a Puerto Rican sailor of mine taught me that Puerto Ricans don't look the elders in the eye. Like we tell our folks, look us in the eye. And we found some people found that as disrespectful, thinking that they're being deceitful or lying, but you have to understand the culture and understand why they're doing things like that. So trying to educate people on different topics to bring them, I was saying, to the 21st, going to the 22nd century, to understanding that we do have slight differences within our cultures.
Yeah, and that's where context is important.
Yeah.
When you understand that culture isn't fixed, it's always evolving, and when you have that context, then it's a lot easier for you to empathize and kind of put yourself in other person's shoes to kind of meet them where they are.
Absolutely. What are some key initiatives or programs the organization has helped create or lead in the community?
So we have 4 pillars that we kind of structure our organization around. I'll touch briefly on each of them just so everyone kind of get an idea of what we do. But the 4 pillars are education, nutrition, socioeconomic policy, and wealth. So I'll start with education. So Tom, one of the founders, he runs a Singapore math program. So recently we did an expo at the MLK Expo at the Epic. Yeah, we were there, had 22 volunteers. It was a great success, and now Tom's working on getting his program into some of the elementary schools in the area. What's important to understand for me is is that not only do people not see the practicality in learning math, there's a little bit of a fear in learning math also. Math is a beautiful language. It's embedded in every living organism as well as every inanimate object we create. People don't understand the language of math. They don't know what a factor is or an exponent, so they shy away from understanding this beautiful knowledge. But Tom infuses wisdom into the way he teaches math and show people that there's practical skills and an art to being well versed. Next, nutrition. So nutrition, Unseen leads our nutrition program. He's kind of our health guru. He does a really great job of helping people look at nutrition from a different aspect. We're all aware that our bodies are living organisms, but we have trillions of cells in our bodies that are living organisms also. They have a life cycle of their own. Those cells are actually our closest relatives. You know, when your mom is sick or your grandma is sick, you know, you normally make her some soup, you lift her spirits, you get her moving, you help her get healthy. Our moms and our grandparents, they're partially in us. So when we take care of ourselves, we take care of them also, and we take care of our community. So that's kind of that infused knowledge that wisdom that we try to infuse in our knowledge. So people I like to say that knowledge by itself is powerful, but it can be destructive. But when you infuse wisdom into the knowledge, not only is it powerful, it gives you opportunity to heal and grow in ways that you didn't think possible. And the last two pillars I'll touch on briefly is socioeconomics and wealth. With socioeconomics, we try and help people understand that the way you spend your time and the way you spend money has a direct effect on what objects or what products show up on your shelves and what policies get made in your community. And lastly, all of these things are wealth, not just money. Money is a narrow aspect of wealth, but how you show up. If you show up vibrant, healthy, you're a very wealthy person. And what you do financially just furthers your reach.
Right. On the health part, you know, I've always believed in natural healing. So there's a content creator that I do follow on TikTok, and I had a partial knee replacement.
Okay.
A lot of pain. Still today, I wish I wouldn't have done it because now they said do a full. I'm not going to do that one.
Yeah.
But he recommended to take cacao to regenerate the cells. Man, I get up and walk. I feel like I can run now. It's a natural product. It's nothing but chocolate. So I'm always looking for health benefits that are natural to heal the body. Then I'm going to be honest, the pharmaceutical products some of the healthy stuff is there, but they compacted with other things, compounds that are not as healthy for your body. I don't want to get into that subject, but the topic alone and we can talk about wealth. I agree with you with the wealth thing that the wealth is more than just the paper trail, the money or your bank account. I remember a commercial, I think it's TD America. It said, "What's your number?" And people were walking and they had a number behind how much they were worth. And from there, I said, this is amazing if you think about it in this way. You don't really have wealth. You just have a number. You just have a number. That's 200,000, 300,000. That's not in the bank. People know I work in the banking industry. It's not in the bank. You just have a number there. So if they ever pull the plug, that part of your wealth is gone. So you better have good health, socioeconomic policies that you can fall back on to get yourself back on your feet. So
community,
absolutely.
You know, one thing I'll add to that, as it pertains to wealth, you know, I'm part of a group where there's a lot of elderly people in this group, and one of the things I hear is stories from their childhood, how there were grocery stores, but they didn't get everything from the grocery store. They grew a lot of vegetables and herbs. They raised animals, they fished, and they shared resources within communities so everyone had what they needed for the wintertime.
Amen. That's
wealth.
It is. I grew up in that era. So My grandmother had the chickens, Miss Odessa, Miss Tigger. They shared everything amongst each other. They very rarely had to go to the. They were teaching us back then. We're going to the supermarket instead of the grocery store. And if you look at the way I see the world now, that everybody is going to the grocery store, and we're dependent upon the government to provide us food that we're going to eat, instead of going back to the community. Because I believe, as indigenous people of this earth, in particular America, that we're the indigenous people here, we lived in a community. The community provided everything for everyone in the community. It was not that I had my household, I got to figure it out myself, in the next household. It's the community. So I'm looking forward to see how we can bring the community back together, sharing information and sharing knowledge and sharing resources.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question: how do you engage and motivate others in the community to get involved and make a difference?
I think being inspired myself. When you're inspired about what you're doing, the connection is natural. And you know, people within the organization, people within our organization, just a network of people, they inspire me. Extending themselves is a very natural thing. They come from an era where that was natural. So I would say that's key.
Yeah. And that goes part of my era also, where we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have PS5. We went outside and played.
Yes.
The neighbors were watching over us. We messed up. The neighbor got into us, and then I told our parents. We got it again. So it goes back to that sense of community that we need to go back to. Every neighborhood is different. I love the diversity within a neighborhood, but we still, too often, we just go home and close the door.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different topic I can discuss about why is that? You know, why are they, whoever they are, pushing us to go into the house? Can you share an inspiring story of a community member or project that has impacted your work?
Yeah, so that question piggybacks off of, you know, what you just said. So with I mentioned that a lot of the people in the organization that I'm with are elderly people, but they don't seem it. You know, Tom's 80 years old, can do 80 push-ups.
Wow.
You know,
I know Tom.
And other members in the organization or members that are around the organization are the same age group, but they're vibrant. And one of the things that inspire me about them is they see solutions through building community.
Right.
And the community is face-to-face. There's communications, there's body language, there's signals that you get face-to-face that you don't necessarily get online. Like, you can tell if I'm not interested and you need to do something to bring me back on board.
Right.
You don't necessarily get that opportunity online. If someone's slipping away, they can just fall through the cracks. Now, there is a benefit to building communities online. But me being someone who's in between generations, I see the necessity for a bridge to use the strengths of online community as well as the strengths of in-person community.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone looking to become more active in their community or take on a leadership role?
I would first say just take a look and see what's out there, and reach out. And then secondly, see how your skill set could benefit whatever they're doing. You don't want to force it. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. If whatever you offer comes natural to you, then the ride could be joyful. You don't have to reinvent anything, and your impact will be greater.
Okay. How do you balance the diverse needs of your community while making sure everyone feels heard and included?
And see, that's the strength of our groups being in person. We can tend to our greater mission or purpose, so to speak, the goals that we set for ourselves. But at the same time, when we see individuals struggling, you know, we have support systems and support groups in place that could engage with that person so they don't slip through the cracks, so they don't feel left behind, and they continue to be, you know, a part of what we build moving forward. And I think that's not only a powerful thing within our group, but that's a beautiful thing about society as a whole when we communicate and we interact, as you mentioned, your childhood and a little bit of mine also.
Yeah. What are some practical ways listeners can support community leaders like yourself or get involved in their own neighborhoods?
Well, I would say community leaders, a great skill set would be to be open. I understand when you build something from the ground up, and you've nurtured this thing,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to get out of the way and hand the reins over to someone else to kind of alter it and make some decisions. But if someone else has a skill set and a talent, it'll resonate with people. And the challenge for you no longer becomes the work that you're doing, but the challenge is to get out of the way and let it evolve into something more that includes more people. So that would be my advice to community leaders.
Well, I get that question asked to me as well, where how can I get involved with the community? I said, well, there's an HOA, there's a PID, we have council meetings, we have PID, you have your PID meetings and HOA meetings, you have boards and commission meetings like planning and zoning. And typically I've found out that most people are not that involved until it's too late. They want to get involved at the end of the process. And my whole everything about me, I want you involved at the beginning.
Yes.
And sometimes people realize that you have to make a tough decision. What do you want and what you don't want? And some folks are not willing to make that decision. So I represent their voices in my district, but trying to get them involved it's been a challenge because I would like to get more participation, more of the community come out and see what's going on in the city, what we're bringing to the city, not waiting until it's been built. And that's what I keep saying. It's like, hey, you had an opportunity to voice your opinion to get involved. So when we figure that one out, it's going to be a good thing to get them involved.
And that's a little bit of what we explore. And I think by us like aiming to infuse wisdom, so people see how practical it is and how beneficial it is to get involved. That could be a little bit of the extra incentive. I know from talking to a lot of people don't see their self-worth,
Right.
and don't see the benefit to connecting with people and building community or putting forth effort to have an impact in their local community. Just showing people their self-worth and showing people that they do have an impact.
And I've challenged folks. I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of the sporting events because I consider those distractions. If you get away from those distractions, you can see what's going on around you.
Yeah.
And it's not that difficult to get away from watching your favorite sporting team and pick up a book, go outside and see what's going on. But until the people realize these are distractions in their lives, to get them away from the sense of community, it's still going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
We're partnering together to do some podcasts. Have you considered the topics we will discuss?
So one, I know that's very dear to you, would be local politics and how to get involved. We're touching on that right now. And I think a really cool angle that I could take and maybe facilitating part of the conversation is it's why it's difficult for people to walk away from the television to get involved. What's happening within their body, what's happening within their nervous system, why the dopamine is being released, and it's essentially like a drug, and you want to keep that going. So it prohibits you from getting involved because this right now is more pleasurable. So I think we could take some cool approaches to our conversations, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that was something we discussed in the past about how I looked at how citizens vote in elections. I've always believed that we have to get involved with the local election first because that's the foundation, just like building a home, is the foundation. And then you look at the state as the walls and the federal government the roof. But too often we are distracted by the presidential election. That's all I want to say about that. I want to get get too involved because I can go down that rabbit hole. How can the audience find your podcast?
So the podcast, it'll be available on YouTube and everywhere else podcasts are shared. It's in production. By the time this comes out, it might be available.
Okay.
But you can go on Facebook, Pupil of the Eye organization. You can connect with us and find out what activities we have going on in the area. Eat to Heal is one of our big activities that everyone's welcome to join and learn about nutrition. And Singapore math through time. You can learn about that through Eat to Heal as well, but that's geared towards elementary school people.
Okay.
But Facebook will be the best place to reach us right now, the Pupil of the Eye organization.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the audience about community or anything else, any parting words you'd like to say?
I would just remind everybody that knowledge by itself is powerful, but it can be very destructive. When you infuse knowledge with wisdom, then not only is it powerful, it allows you to reach beyond what you thought was possible to begin with. So when we call people to action, we want to do so by infusing wisdom and teaching people how to trust their gut, teaching people how to open up and listen for what's happening around them, and to muster up the courage that's necessary to take little steps to improve your situation and the people's situation around you.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank Mr. Stephen Garner, People of the Eye, to come out here for coming today to share some knowledge and their wisdom. And I look forward to our meetings because we discussed doing 4 podcasts together and getting that out to you guys real soon. So thank you guys for listening to On the Square with Councilman Kurt Johnson.